Today, President Donald Trump fulfilled a campaign promise, signing an executive order calling to shut down the Department of Education. President Trump said he wants to give more power to state education departments.
Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn is tracking how this move could impact public school students here in Georgia.
Tonight, Richard Woods, state superintendent in charge of all public schools here in Georgia, is in sit and wait mode. A spokesperson for his office told me they have not received any direction from the White House in terms of what services or programs, funding here in the state of Georgia could be impacted for the 1.7 million public school students here in Georgia after today's action by the president at the White House.
With the stroke of a pen, President Donald Trump just signed an executive order calling to shut down the U.S. Department of Education. Happening at the same time, inside the Georgia state capitol, students from the Georgia Youth Justice Coalition criticized the president's move. A move Lisa Morgan with the Georgia Association of Educators said will impact public school classrooms statewide. Georgia schools on average get 15% of their funding from the feds.
Our most vulnerable will be those first impacted, because our most vulnerable are the students that Title I and IDEA are intended to protect.
Congress would have to give final approval to completely dismantle the department, but the White House today said critical programs like Title I, which helps low-income students, and IDEA, which assists students with special needs, will still be federally run.
If that funding is delayed, if that funding is not received, if that funding is changed because it is being administered differently, what's at stake is what's going to happen with our students, and that's the bottom line.
Outside the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stressed President Trump is fulfilling a campaign promise to give more power to states to dictate the direction of public education.
This president is finally taking much needed action to return education to where it belongs, and that's to educators closest to students in their classrooms in their respective states.
For some Georgia parents, like LaToysha Burton from Covington, whose son is pursuing a psychology degree and relies on federal funds to offset tuition costs, overhauling the education system could be devastating for her son's dreams.
We actually had the serious conversation last week, and my son looked at me and said, "Mom, this might be it. I might not continue." That's an issue. We went this far for him to now give it up because of funding.
And like I mentioned, to completely dismantle the Department of Education, that would take an act of Congress. I did reach out to the two U.S. senators from Georgia, Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock, on how they would vote if this option came to Congress. I did not get word back tonight. In downtown Atlanta, Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.